Hi peoples, hello again. We are going to study specifically the page 98 from the book, the point number 2, which is the emergence of the Christian kingdoms. Okay, once the Christian kingdoms in the Iberian Peninsula were originated, now they are going to develop their destiny. Alright, so we are going to go first of all to the kingdoms of Leon and Castilla. Leon and Castilla has been always joined because of a matter of royal inheritance. I mean, sometimes both of them were ruled by the same king, but some others were separated, being ruled by two different kings. If we go to see from a very early moment, if we take a look to this map, we are able to see that Leon is a big kingdom, and on one side, on the right side of the kingdom, was the Count of Castilla. This county was kind of a frontier with Muslims and with other Christian kingdoms. As a consequence, it was an area of conflicts with Muslims and other kingdoms. There were built several castles to defend the frontiers of the Kingdom of Leon. This is the reason why this area is called Castilla, because of the castles. However, this kingdom controlled the Count of Castilla, but in a time, a man called Fernán González, who was a vassal of the King of Leon, decided to establish control on the Count of Castilla and decided to do it independent in the 10th century. He decided to establish authority over all the county and decided to independent it from Leon. This is the reason why it's so important in the history of Castilla. So from this very first moment, Castilla is created as an independent territory. As we can see in this map, the territory of Castilla, the Count of Castilla or Condado de Castilla, started to expand southern into the Muslims' territories to reconquer those lands. But it wasn't until the king Fernando I, some years later than Fernán González, in 1035, whenever Castilla started to be a very big kingdom. Indeed, Fernando I became Castilla into a kingdom from a count. But what's more, even Fernando I, 2 years later, in 1037, became the king of Leon and Castilla, joining the two kingdoms. So the map became this way, forming the kingdom of Leon and Castilla. During the following years, the kingdom was separated and joined again several times. But as I said, this was a matter of the inheritance of the kings. This factor was stopped when we got the king Fernando III el Santo. With this king, Castilla and Leon, up to this moment, up to the moment of the coming of Fernando III el Santo, Castilla and Leon separately expanded southwards into the territory of the Muslims. But when we got the time of Fernando III, both kingdoms were united. All right, this was in 1217. So, from the year 1217, these two kingdoms were unified into one big kingdom called Corona de Castilla. So you see on this map the very big territory joining the two ancient kingdoms, creating the Corona de Castilla. By the way, you can appreciate how Portugal, which is now an independent kingdom, an independent territory, sometimes once belonged to Leon and then to Leon and Castilla, but from the 12th and 13th centuries became independent. Alright, this is on one side. So now we are going to go to the next very important kingdom, which was the kingdom of Navarra, called from the very first moment the kingdom of Pamplona, because was the most important city in this territory. At the time of the kingdom of Pamplona was very important, very highlighted, the Jimena dynasty. Was a very important family of kings, and inside this Jimena dynasty was the age of the king Sancho III, which was maybe the most important king ever in the history of the Navarra kingdom. So this king conquered a lot of territory, included the Condado de Castilla and the Condado de Aragón, Sobrarbe, and Ribagorza. Those territories were once independent. Sobrarbe, Ribagorza, Aragón, and Castilla. All those territories were ancient counties, but now belonged to Sancho III de Navarra. When the years passed and Sancho III died in 1035, he divided the territories into his three sons. He created a big kingdom, but he divided the territories into his three sons. And we see that the kingdom of Castilla, or the county of Castilla, was for Fernando I. The kingdom of Navarra Pamplona was for García III. The kingdom of the county of Aragon was for Ramiro I. Ramiro I also controlled the territories of Sobrarbe and Ribagorza, which were the two other smaller counties besides the county of Aragon. So after this moment, Navarra come back to this original expansion territory, and it wasn't until the moment of the Catholic kings or Reyes Católicos, whenever Fernando de Aragón, the Catholic king, conquered the kingdom of Navarra in the 15th century to give it to Reino de Castilla. So from this very first moment, Navarra belonged to Castilla. 1512 was a very important year. A very important year because the Catholic king not only conquered Navarra for Castilla, but also the Corona de Aragón, or Reino de Aragón, also joined to Castilla. This was the very first moment, the beginning of the idea of a single country, which is nowadays Spain. So you have to take into account the year 1512 as the very important year of this century. And now, at last but not the least, we are going to go to the Corona de Aragón, or Kingdom of Aragon, which originally was a very small county nearby the Pyrenees and between the Marca Hispánica and the Navarra Pamplona kingdom, and Aragon was stuck in the middle of those territories. And as I told you, Ramiro I, the son of Sancho III, of Navarra, inherited this territory from his father. So consequently, this territory became the Reino de Aragón, and Ramiro I became the first king of Aragon between 1035 and 1063. Those were very important years for the Kingdom of Aragon. With the passing of the years, the kingdom expanded to the south, conquering territories to the Muslims. But it wasn't until the year 1137 whenever Ramón Berenguer IV, one of the most important principes of Catalonia, one of the most important governors of Catalonia, got married with Petronila of Aragon, the son of the last king of the Kingdom of Aragon. Both were engaged into marriage, and that as a consequence, the Kingdom of Aragon and the Principados Catalanes were joined, so the Corona de Aragon was created. Besides the Corona de Castilla, Corona de Aragon was the most important territory in the 14th and 15th centuries in the history of Spain. As a curiosity, Ramón Berenguer IV joined in marriage with Petronila of Aragon whenever Petronila only was 1 year old. It was mainly an agreement between the two courts of kings. So this nowadays never happened, but in the Middle Ages this was very common. So this is all I have for you to tell about the emergence of the Christian kingdoms. So I hope you take into considerations all the information I have given to you, and we are going to work out this information in class next day. So see you, goodbye.